Let's turn our attention to the Middle East now, because Israel's far-right minister Bezalel Smotrich has announced the approval of new settlements in the occupied West Bank, which are considered illegal under international law. During a ceremony, Smotrich, who's been sanctioned by the UK, said his announcement finally buries the idea of a Palestinian state, I quote. Well, our international correspondent Diana Magnay spoke to him, joins us live from Jerusalem. Diana, good to have you with us. Just tell us more about your interaction.
Well, so this settlement is a pretty big deal. They have been building settlements and continuing the expansion of the West Bank, which has really gathered pace over the last 2 years, especially since the beginning of this year, actually. But this E1 settlement plan, it's called, has been discussed for 2 decades already, 3 decades, in fact. And now Bezalel Smotrich, I think, feeling that he has wind in his sails and he has the power to go ahead with it, has announced that it will get underway. And effectively what it would do is be a major settlement between the West Bank and East Jerusalem, another blow really to the whole idea of Palestinian statehood. And that's what he wants it to be. He said this essentially destroys the whole notion of Palestinian statehood. And it comes off the back quite recently of the parliament deciding that it still needs to be approved, but essentially deciding to go ahead with annexation of the West Bank. He has made very inflammatory statements, as you've said before, but just now, which is why the UK and other governments have sanctioned him for essentially incitement to violence in the West Bank. This whole notion of destroying the idea of a Palestinian state prompted me to ask him the following question. Let's take a listen. Minister, if this is the end of a Palestinian state, what do you want to happen to the Palestinian people?
I suggest reading my plan, the decision plan which I published in 2017. The future I'm offering to Arabs in Judea and Samaria is much better than any Arab has in Arab countries, much better for them than if they had a Palestinian state. I am offering them protection of human rights, freedom and freedom of speech, freedom of religion, property protection, life protection. I am also offering them the right to a democratic vote for their own municipal government, which is more than they would have anywhere else. Let's be fair, if a Palestinian state is established, it will be a dictatorship with no human rights, no freedom and no democracy. They will throw homosexuals from the roof. We offer them an economic and civic future filled with civil and democratic rights. There is only one thing we don't give them, a state that will try to destroy us, the one and only state of the Jewish people. My solution is more ethical, much better and more democratic from every other false and hypocritical solution.
And Diana, this development, this proposal has been on the cards, been disputed, been blocked as well for many, many years now. Why now? Why this push in the August of 2025?
Well, I think there are 2 reasons. First of all, the calls from the international community to recognise the state of Palestine if Israel doesn't cease fire in Gaza. And I think this is a direct response to that. You also have the fact that Benjamin Netanyahu, and clearly Bezalel Smotrich, as he said today, believes that the US president is on side. Previous administrations have blocked any idea of resettling E1. The international community, the UK, Canada, France, they have all called out against this kind of settlement activity. But I don't think that you're going to see Donald Trump behind him. And in fact, I asked him after the press conference, is Donald Trump on board with this? And is Benjamin Netanyahu? Because we haven't heard any confirmation yet from the Prime Minister's office that they are behind him. And he said in response to both, he said, of course they are. You know, we've never had a better friend than Donald Trump and the now US ambassador here, Mike Huckabee, who, by the way, has said in the past that he doesn't recognise a West Bank. And you heard the comments that he made to me in that soundbite that we just played. They all sound well and good. They all sound as though he's advocating for Palestinian rights. We have seen Israel's track record in the West Bank. Palestinians do not have their rights respected. And I do not think that we can expect one of the far right, a minister who is very much representative of the far right settler movement in Israel to improve on the situation around Palestinian rights if he were to go ahead with the full annexation of the West Bank, which is what he for a long time has advocated.